No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Good morning, Bronco Nation. Welcome to the Cayman Islands. Boise State getting set to take on Hampton on Sunday in the first round of the Cayman Islands Classic. Bronco Nation News has made the trip down to the Cayman Islands here at the Marriott Resort right on the famous 7 Mile Beach. And we'll have coverage next couple days of basketball and football here on Bronco Nation News. A joint three-person show today. We're excited to bring on our friends John Mallory and Jay Tust as we get you set for a football game and basketball game. Johnny, no show yesterday as I was traveling. Couldn't give you the week off, though. You got to earn that pay, so I made you come back with Johnny and I today. We are dealing with hotel Wi-Fi here, guys. It went out already once during the intro, so if I dip out, you guys can have your dream and just host for the next 45 minutes. But appreciate you both coming on. How we doing?
Doing well. Good to have me on today, I guess I should say. BJ, Jay, good to see you. Thanks again, BJ, for working around our schedules. And man, Jay, look at this guy, man. BJ. Wow, look at this. On a Friday in November, you're going to cover the heck out of that basketball tournament, BJ. Can't wait to get some hoops coverage as well. And what's the temperature over there? It's a little breezy.
It is a little windy today. Yeah, you're really going to want to hear me complain, but I think it's getting up to 85 today. It did rain yesterday when I came in, but today and tomorrow is supposed to be nice. The team is en route from Atlanta right now. They will land. We'll have some coverage of that, some interviews this afternoon. I think they land about 12:30. Yeah, we'll get to the basketball talk. I know, Jay, basketball, football, another big weekend for Boise State, and appreciate you for jumping on as well. How's it going, Jay?
Yeah. If it's 85 there, it's supposed to be like 50 in Laramie, which I'm pretty sure is the equivalent of like 85 in Laramie for November. So, it's pretty similar climates for that matter, I would say.
Yes, no doubt. We'll get to basketball a little later. I do want to start with football, guys, though, and I guess we got to start with this game tomorrow, and obviously with Ashton Jeanty and his pursuit here. I know, Jay, you're big as always into the stats here. Looking at Ashton Jeanty and his numbers and what he's got to do the next couple of games. I will just say this: it's funny now we're trying to get all these yards. We didn't want them against Portland State or some of these teams earlier in the year, but let's try to get as many as we can now to get him in the first place in the Barry Sanders record books. But we have the 2:00 stat. I don't know if you've already written today's or not yet, Jay. That's going to be coming out. Johnny, I don't know if you saw that or not, but he's doing a stat every day at 2:00 for number 2, Ashton Jeanty, leading into the Heisman, and I can only imagine what kind of stats we're going to get here moving forward. Jay, cool idea with that, and obviously a lot still to play for Ashton here the next couple of games.
A ton to play for, and I think these next couple of games are super important because it would be, I mean, Ashton Jeanty can do just about anything, and it wouldn't really like surprise you on a football field. But when you look at that Barry Sanders record, I mean, he's still over 700 yards away from that thing. And so I think these next 3 games, meaning at Wyoming versus Oregon State and whoever they face in the Mountain West Conference Championship game, I think they're really, really important because I think Ashton has to show he can get that record potentially in the bowl game. And I'm sorry, I just think that if Ashton were to break that record and not win the Heisman, that would just look ridiculous.
Johnny, Barry Sanders record. Jeanty breaks it, doesn't win the Heisman. Would that be a bad look for voters?
Well, he's going to break it after the Heisman's given. So the voters will say, well, at the time when we cast our vote, he hadn't broken the record yet. So it'll be one of those things. He's got 1893. He's 107 to join the 2000 club. BJ, he'll probably get that, hopefully for Boise State fans, by halftime. He's got to average right around 200 a game, Jay. I'm not exactly sure the exact number, but if he gets 200 yards a pop over the next 4, that'll give him 26.93, and he'll break Barry by about 50 yards there. So he might have a 50-yard leeway there. The Heisman's weird, man. I have no idea. I think he's the best player in the country, too, guys, and I know a lot of people do, but that necessarily doesn't always win you the Heisman. What can help is this weekend, either Colorado losing or Travis Hunter just not dominating, Jeanty dominating, and maybe they can flip it a little bit. But I think a loss for Colorado hurts Travis Hunter more than a loss, maybe even for Ashton Jeanty in this thing. It's going to be tough for either to dodge a loss, but that's kind of where I am on that one right now, guys.
I think that, you again, look at these next couple opponents for Boise State. Wyoming and Oregon State rank in the bottom 100 of college football in rush defense. And so if Ashton can go out and have a couple of those big time monster performances where he gets to, 175, even 200 yards, which is completely in play for Ashton Jeanty, then all of a sudden he's really going to start to close that gap. And if I'm a Heisman voter, which I'm not, and I know that there's a very good chance that he could break Barry's record in a bowl game, and I don't vote for him, I just think that would look foolish. It would. I mean, that Barry Sanders' record has so long been thought of as being untouchable.
Did we lose Jay there, or was that me?
It is. It has been. I'll follow that. Yeah, the Barry's. It's like one of those things like, wait, what? This guy broke Barry's all-time single-season college football rushing record, and he didn't win the Heisman that year? Wait, what? I mean, it would be one of those things that nerds 40 years from now when they're studying college football like we do, guys like, Glenn Davis and Doc Blanchard, like, wait, this didn't happen? That's what they would say, certainly, in that regard, if Jeanty doesn't end up winning the Heisman. Kind of like, what was the year, BJ? Ted Williams hit 406. And he didn't win AL MVP that year. Joe DiMaggio had a 56-game hit streak and got the award. It would be one of those awards. But again, here's going to come the Travis Hunter isn't that good crowd. Travis Hunter isn't this. And I get all that. I think Jeanty's the better player too. But Travis Hunter's really good also. And, I mean, watch him play. I mean, he's one of the better corners. They do a lot with him. Wide receiver, obviously. I mean, he's going to be a top 5 draft pick, so the talent is there. It's always been there. And they put on a show, and they have the glitz, and they have the glamour. And let's not pretend that doesn't matter in this Heisman thing. It does. This thing is entertainment. This thing is a show, and you want to enhance that. And nobody in football has done a better job branding or marketing themselves, ever than Deion Sanders? Is there anybody better? Look what Michael Jordan did with basketball. Who's football had that's took their brand, their name? People just call him Prime now. He's a big deal, and he attracts a lot of attention. Travis Hunter, no question, guys. He's been able to capitalize, I should say, off of that attention and still be a good player. This thing's going to come down to it, though, the next couple of weeks. That's why I think you guys could argue, Jay, could you argue this is the best Boise State football season ever? Just the ride, being in this mix, everything you're playing for, plus all this cool individual battle, what seems now to be like a Jeanty versus Hunter discussion going on right now. You have that to chew on as well. And you could argue that could be the case, playing in another big time bowl game. There's so much in front of this team. Obviously, guys, they need to keep winning. They know that. But if they do, there's going to be some serious storylines. And hell, guys, tomorrow, 2 or 3 of these teams in the mix could lose. It's almost like BJ, our own March Madness, survive and advance every week. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You have to win. And it's a lot of fun to watch.
I think that the college football gods are going to have their say in this thing, and I think it could happen this weekend.
Yep.
I really like ASU's chances against BYU, and BJ, I like Kansas's chances against Colorado. A 3-point dog at Kansas. Kansas is better than their record. Mm-hmm. I do think when you look at what Colorado's done this year and who they've beaten, I think they're playing good ball right now. Don't get me wrong, but they're kind of a little overinflated. They hammer a Utah team last weekend. That's the worst Utah team we've seen in a decade. I don't even know.
Teams they've played during this winning streak, the last 3-4 games, they've beaten pretty much nobody.
Exactly. And so to get back to your point though there, Johnny, it is wild to think this, and I have to pay my respects to these past Boise State teams that have climbed to, 3, 4 in the AP ranking, number 2 at one point in time. I have to pay my respects to them totally. And while that is still up for debate as Boise State tries to close out the season, one thing you can say is arguably the biggest 6 weeks in the history of Boise State football are ahead of them.
Yeah.
They have a legit chance to have a Heisman Trophy winner. They have a chance to go to the college football playoff. And if they can earn that first round bye and get their first game there on a neutral field, anything can happen. And if they were to win a college football playoff game and advance to the semifinals, I don't know how else you could characterize this other than the greatest season in Boise State football history.
Final Four of football, guys. Yeah, they'd be one win from that if that's the scenario. And Jay, they don't have to be the 3rd or 4th best team in the country under this format, and you get it for 2 years, Bronco Nation. Enjoy it. Under this format, you need to be one of the 4 highest ranked conference champions. That's it. And if you are, you're going to get a bye in this thing. And, maybe that's kind of a glitch, kind of a loophole. People are looking around like, wait, this is how this works. I don't know if SEC people think they were exactly privy to all this stuff. Like, wait, we're doing this? But yeah, you're doing this for this year and next year. And that's the system. And Boise State has, BJ, a path in front of it that looks like, holy smokes, this is doable. And all this gold is in this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow on this thing. All that, Jay, 6 weeks.
And I want to get into that in a second. Let me thank a couple of quick sponsors real quick, because I do think, guys, it actually could be a bad thing for the future of the group of 5 type teams if Boise State gets a bye. If they give Boise State a bye, I think there's no chance the SEC is letting that kind of formula happen again in the new iteration of this. We'll see. I want to talk about that in just a second, but I do want to thank Western Collective, our studio sponsor. Hope you go to their watch party tomorrow night, 5 o'clock over at Heck early and watch the Kansas game at 1:30. 5 o'clock over at Western Collective Brewery. They're in Garden City. They have great food, great drink specials, and a portion of proceeds go to benefit the Horseshoe Collective, putting money back in the student athletes at Boise State. RoePaint.com, our title sponsor. Check them out, ROEPaint.com. All your painting needs. Make sure you check out our title sponsor, RoePaint.com. And again, perfect time to get that interior painting project done as the weather comes down. But they're already scheduling those concrete coatings for the spring, so check them out as well. Tyson Degenhart, they'll be landing here shortly in the Cayman Islands. We'll have coverage the next couple of days, but you can get coverage on your card control at Idaho Central Credit Union. Make sure you check them out, ICCU.com. All your banking needs. You may think you like your banking experience. I can promise you, you'll like the folks at ICCU much better. Rain's family so happy we made the switch. You can as well. Idaho Central Credit Union branch pretty much on every corner, but you can find them out online at ICCU.com. And Matt Boucher, speaking of being happy with the service there, we're super happy with Matt Boucher. Helped us buy and sell our home. Boucher Real Estate, highly recommend the fine folks there at Boucher Real Estate. It's not just Matt. You see all the folks in the picture there, and they each handle a different step, a different part of the process when you're buying or selling a home. So you really do get first-class service every step of the way. Check them out online, BoucherRealEstate.com. And Ridley's Family Markets, ShopRidleys.com. We don't have the game picked out yet, but we did announce the VIP basketball experience sponsored by Ridley's is back for this year. We'll pick that game, and we'll get you on your way. A paying subscriber, you just could have a yearly subscriber membership. You're entered to win a trip for two on a private jet to a road basketball game. We'll tell you more about that moving forward. ShopRidleys.com. Again, 13 locations in the state of Idaho, others in the surrounding states as well. All right, let's take a look at the college football playoff bracket here, guys. Obviously, right now, Boise State does have that bye. I guess first thought here, how you guys feeling? Jay, we'll start with you. How you feeling just about Boise State's possibility of hanging on to this bye? I mean, I think we all believe if Colorado and BYU both lose, Boise State's in a great spot just to win out and get it. But what do you make of what they did, putting Boise State fourth? I think, Jay, we both said on Tuesday we thought it might happen, mostly for a TV type thing, something to talk about for a week. But now, I mean, there's a real path. You're four. You can hang on to it. What are the chances of that? And you can take it whatever way you want, Jay, and Johnny, you can follow up.
Oh, I just think that if Boise State wins this weekend and Colorado or BYU slip up, I mean, it's going to be almost, I'm not going to say impossible because anything can happen when opinions are involved here, but I think it's going to be really, really tough for anybody out of the Big 12 to realistically catch Boise State. Like, at that point in time, Arizona State might be the biggest threat, but they have a couple of losses on the season, and they would have to jump like 10 spots in order to catch Boise State. And I just don't think I see that happening. So, I mean, this is becoming a very realistic thing that could happen. And if you were to ask me at this point in time, is it more likely or unlikely? I'm leaning likely just when I try to project out what the next couple of weeks could look like for the teams involved. I think that Boise State has a real chance to get that bye. And I do want to follow up real quick on your take there, BJ. Could it be a bad thing? Man, this stuff is changing in 2 years, regardless of who's going to get these buys and stuff like that. So you better capitalize while you can. And for me, I think that Boise State's a program that can still save the purity of college football. If they can earn their way into these buys and actually go and be a threat at the college football playoff, then that argument of these group of five schools can't win a game, that is irrelevant. And I think in the NIL era, it actually has kind of dispersed talent across college football. And there is no team in America. Johnny, is there any team in America right now that truly you think Boise State would step on a field against and not have any chance? I'm not asking you to predict that they would beat Texas on a neutral field or Ohio State. What I'm saying is, or asking you is there a team where you feel like Boise State just would not have a chance stepping on the field with this year?
Like Georgia versus Hawaii in the Sugar.
Yeah, exactly. Or even like Bama a few years ago.
Oregon Liberty last year. Can I go Oregon Liberty last year? Like that?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Spencer Danielson and I'm building my resume, Jay, and this is what we're doing and we are applying in this tournament, here's what we have. Here's why we deserve a bye week. And you have your references on your resume. Jay, you look at BJ's resume, it's like Bob Costas, Albert Pujols, and Joe Buck. On Spencer Danielson's resume, number 1, it says Dan Lanning. You want to know about this team? Yeah, call Dan Lanning. Ask him. Ask him how good we are. Ask him how tough we are. Ask him how thankful he is he can go buy some of the best athletes in the country and they can return a couple of kicks in a pinch and bail them out of a game. I mean, a lot of people don't give that a lot of credit. I know the Boise State special teams did suck, but Oregon does have some of the best players in America. They make 2 dudes miss, and it's house time. I mean, Jeanty stuff. Anywho, I digress on that, Jay. But no, I wouldn't put one team there, and I would say ask Oregon what Boise State can do firsthand. They know, and I think Dan Lanning would be pretty eager to tell people about it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And
ahead,
real quick, just to follow up on that too. I truly believe that Boise State could be competitive with just about anybody right now. And a big reason why is because Ashton Jeanty is the best football player in America. And I know that we've kind of already talked about the Heisman candidacy and all that stuff, but we can argue about the best player in America, but I don't think you can argue the most valuable player in America. Ashton Jeanty means everything to this football team, and I think Ashton Jeanty gives them basically a shot to win against anybody in the country because he gave them a shot to win at Oregon. They were so close to doing it. If they just make a couple of special teams tackles, then they pull that upset, and this thing is really looking wild at this point in time for the Broncos. I think the thing that would interest me moving forward, guys, in a matchup against Oregon or whoever it might be, coaches never admit that they might go into a matchup a little bit more vanilla, and I get it, and they're trying to win every game, and I think that they are exhausting every resource to win every single game, right? But now that the book is out on, what Boise State does well, how would Dan Lanning approach that in a rematch with Ashton Jeanty? I think when you have the best players, the highest paid NIL guys, in America, you like to believe that you could stay a little more basic, but Oregon got burnt a little bit by doing that. And so would they load up even more on stopping Ashton Jeanty and try to force other guys to beat them? I am curious how that would play out, but I still like my chances with 2 and with this offensive line getting back to full strength, it appears.
We'll get to that here in a second as we spin forward towards this Wyoming game. But Johnny, just want to give you a chance. One take from you. I mean, do you think Jay said I don't think you're wrong, Jay, but Jay said you could lean more towards the yes than no if you're having to guess right now on the bye for the 4 seed. If you guys want good radio, go back and listen to John Mallory at about 5:10 on Tuesday when they were watching live as the college football playoff rankings were announced. I mean, I've never heard someone so exciting to see something pop up on a TV screen before. But you seemed, genuinely surprised by that, Johnny. So what do you make of the number 4 seed, and can they hang on to it or not?
Yeah, I still thought the 1-loss Big 12 would trump the 1-loss G5, and it didn't, man. And they flipped it, and they gave Boise State the bye. And it sounds funny to say this, but kind of the conversation we could also be having is, can Army catch Arizona State?
Yes.
I like what Jay's saying. I think ASU is a great value play to win the league right now. I think they're playing as well, if not better, than any team in that conference. Okay. I think Arizona State can win this league with 2 losses. You mentioned BJ. They got a long way to go. They're like at 21. I think Army's at 19. Okay. So if BYU and Colorado lose their way out, the race for not a bye, but the race for acceptance and invitation in this tournament as the 5th conference champion, guys, all of a sudden becomes Big 12 versus the American. Like, that's the conversation we could be having, as crazy as that sounds. But if Colorado and Slippy Slappy Swami BYU lose this weekend and Army beats Notre Dame, that's what we're having. And then we're going to watch this thing on Tuesday, guys. And there's going to be a really good shot on that Tuesday edition, whenever it is, that the Big 12's not going to be in the tournament as it currently sits right there, because you would have an undefeated Army just off a win over Notre Dame against who would be the highest ranked Big 12 team? Probably Arizona State, right, guys, this week, if all that stuff happens?
I still think that is whether that is deserved or not, I could say there's pretty much a 0.0001% chance in the first year of the playoff they wouldn't put a Power 4 team in.
What if Army's undefeated, man? Then Boise State gets out. Boise State's 12-1, and Army's 13 or 12-0. Like in the Big 12, champion has 2 losses. I mean, I'm just saying.
What about Tulane? Does Tulane have any shot if they just run the table and beat Army in the championship, or is this only an Army thing?
Yes, if Tulane runs the table and they beat an undefeated Army in the AAC championship game, they will have there'll be 2 losses and they'll be real hot. Will they be ranked higher than the highest ranked Big 12 team at that point? Maybe, probably not. You're right, probably not. Army, though, undefeated, I mean, they're going to be in play.
I think Army gets crushed tomorrow, by the way. Look at their schedule. They haven't played. I think tomorrow the Army talk quiets down a little bit.
They They lose, they're out.
I think the committee has kind of shown already, though, like, and it's still so early, like, stuff can change. I mean, what was, Johnny, you'll know this, like, what year was it where there was a team on the 4 line that won and the committee just flipped them with the team on the 5 line just because they were the bigger brand in the smaller college football playoff? Do you remember that?
I don't, Johnny. I'm not sure.
Was it UCF or Cincinnati? Was it one of those years where they appeared one week and then the next week the other team had enough sized of a win where they flipped it? Maybe something like that.
Yeah, but it really didn't like make much sense when they did it. Like they could have just left it the way that it was. So I guess what I'm saying is there is still a selection committee involved. They can still surprise us, come that final selection day where they truly slot these teams. But what they've shown so far, in my opinion, is that they don't value the Big 12 that much. I mean, there are 2 ACC teams ahead of the top-ranked Big 12 team, and one of those ACC teams lost to the top-ranked Big 12 team. Yeah. BYU beat SMU, yet SMU is still ahead of BYU in the standings. And I think what the precedence that they set there, too, is a good loss means more than a head-to-head matchup, which is always an interesting debate. But it is worth having, and losing to BYU in Provo seems like it would be more impressive on a resume than losing to Kansas in Provo, right? So I think that they've set a little precedence there where they are valuing the Big 12 somewhat correctly at this moment, because the Big 12, I mean, I asked this earlier, to Johnny, BJ, I'll ask you, because you are a Big 12 guy. I mean, there's not a whole lot of teams in America that I don't think Boise State can compete with. I mean, I think they really can. If they were in the Big 12 conference this year, they would be right in the thick of playing for a conference championship. There's definitely not a team in the Big 12 that scares me. I think the Boise State would hang with anyone in the Big 12 conference this year.
I mean, it's Boise State, Colorado's schedule and just play the what-if game. You take Oregon off there, and they'd probably be right where Colorado is, if not 9-1.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. I totally agree with that. I mean, you're talking bigger stadiums, tougher environments. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but in terms of the teams on the field, and yeah, if Kansas can go beat Iowa State and BYU in back-to-back weeks, there's certainly Boise State would have a fighter's chance and all that. Last thing on the playoff, guys, is the 3 seed in play here at all? What's the scenario with the ACC here? I mean, you would think if Miami wins out, they're going to stay ahead of them. But if SMU were to beat Miami, that'd probably give them the juice to jump over Boise State. But any shot at the 3 seed, or are we just looking at the 4 here? For either one of you, Jake.
I think, Johnny, it'd be tough. What do you think?
Boise State would have to have a higher CFP ranking than the highest ACC team. So you'd need some type of chaos. ACC championship game, can it provide you that? If it's SMU versus Miami, I have a really hard time, guys, thinking that the winner of that megaplex game in that league is not going to be rewarded with the 3 seed. I don't know what scenario Boise State's going to have to do with the committee to have a higher ranking than that. I mean, you're talking if it's a 1-loss SMU or a 1-loss Miami versus a 1-loss Boise State, and all of a sudden you kind of picture that, put the pieces of that schedule together, Jay. That I don't really see a path for. And I'm trying to find paths everywhere. And I think we're at the whole point now, Jay, where ACC chaos is like no longer a thing that you can kind of hope for. Now it's like Big 12 chaos. And it's like I was saying with you, BJ, the Big 12, hey, man, I know you're trying to mess with Boise State right now, but you better look over here because here's Army and the American. They're you got to fight these guys off now, too. Because all of a sudden the highest ranked American team is kind of in the same neighborhood as the highest ranked Big 12 team. So yeah. A lot's going to happen. And BJ, I agree with everybody. What's up with Tust's internet, man? He's getting out of here early or something?
No, he'll be coming back. It's something to do with his phone. When he gets a notification, it kicks him off or something. I may have to talk.
So high maintenance,
man. I know, man. I may have to. We need Camille to set it up for him better next time, maybe.
So high maintenance.
I may have to take something from the paycheck. We'll see here. Well, while Jay is dialing back in, we're going to tell you about a couple more sponsors and spin this forward. Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game. Check them out, thespateam.com. Snake River Pool and Spa, whether it's a spa, whether it's a pool table for the game room, a sauna, they got it all. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. Check them out again online at thespateam.com. Lithia Ford of Boise. That weather's starting to cool down. The snow and ice is coming. Make sure you have an all-wheel drive vehicle from Lithia Ford of Boise. Whether it's the F-150, all the great options they have there. The Raines family purchased our F-150 there. We're ready for the winter months. You can too. And again, they got 6 NIL deals with student athletes at Boise State, the coaches, administrators. They've taken care of everybody. They're one of the biggest supporters of Boise State athletics, so return the favor at Lithia Ford of Boise. Taco Bell, you looking for a job? How about TacoBellWorks.com? They are hiring, and they have tremendous promotional opportunities, free food while you work, half your pay the next day after your shift. Highly recommended career with our friends at Taco Bell and the XO Management Group, the Nicolason family. We appreciate them. They're doing big things for BNN, so head out to Taco Bell for that next meal. And again, if you're looking for a job, check them out. And again, looking for a job? Transportation Compliance Service can help you out as well. You want to get into the trucking industry? Maybe it's not a profession you thought about in the past, but it's very lucrative right now. And again, it's a local company based in the Treasure Valley, helping folks all over the United States. You can check them out. Transportation Compliance Service, transcompservice.com is the website. transcompservice.com. Ashton Jeanty gear. Do you need any Ashton Jeanty gear for the stretch run here? Get it at the Blue and Orange store, theblueandorangestore.com. Ashton Jeanty gear is now available at theblueandorangestore.com. They got multiple racks and things. You can check that out, theblueandorangestore.com. If you're in the Boise Town Square Mall, if you're in the Boise area, just go to the Boise Town Square Mall. They're on the second floor. And if you're not, you can order online anywhere in the world at theblueandorangestore.com. All right, go ahead, Jay or Johnny.
If you could magically heal one injured Boise State player for this week, maybe even moving forward.
I was going to say,
just the obvious guys, okay? Who are you healing up, Miyagi style? And
I will just say this. I was not at the press conference yesterday with Spencer Danielson. You both were. He made some comments. I know, Jay, you put out some of the videos and things. Johnny, I'll just throw this out there. I offered Johnny $20. Maybe I should have offered this to Jay. I offered Johnny $20 to record video of Spencer Danielson's press conference and send it to me so I could post it. And how'd that work out, Johnny? Jay, did you see him, by the way? Was he videotaping?
He was working.
You're wondering what was going on with that?
Hey, I'm going to say he at least, I don't know if he delivered the video to you because that's where I'm guessing this is going, but he at least earned half of it for the effort.
Okay, yeah, Jen, that's totally fair.
BJ didn't get the video. Stuff happened, but a lot of comments are coming in right now. I mean, the obvious is what, Mason, Roger, or Tubes? I mean, you can heal one person right now and get
some votes too. Sire Gaines is getting some votes.
Yes, Sire Gaines is in play here, but you can't pick a backup running back over an all-conference caliber lineman, right? And we've seen, guys, the ramifications of no Mason and no Roger, the build-up and the pieces. Guys, it's different out there. And if they do get those guys back, holy smokes. But yeah, that's a kind of a fun little game to play at the water cooler, gentlemen.
You see how quickly, Jay, he just kind of blew off the video part of it and went right back to the question there.
People want to talk football on this channel. It's Bronco Nation. They want to hear about Johnny shooting a press conference.
Well, we just got to teach Johnny how to send a large size video. He couldn't send the full size file. He tried to send me some shorter ones. Johnny, we appreciate it. I think Jay's right. I'll give you $10 at least. I'll buy you lunch sometime. But with the reason I brought that up is because Spencer Danielson did talk at the press conference about some injured guys who, and at least one in Mason Randolph, who based on what I've heard, Jay, maybe it's different. I think that's just, Spencer's been telling us for weeks, Sire Gaines been trying to get back, and that's been, nothing's happened for 2 months. So I would slow down a little bit on Mason Randolph potentially being back in the next week or two personally, or anytime soon. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but he did say that those linemen, Jay, are getting closer.
I think it's enough to get excited about. And that's just me.
Okay.
I think it's enough to get excited about. I think that you also have to have expectations, like to think that any of these guys that have been out for a significant amount of time are just going to jump back into a game and play every single freaking snap, is that you're going to set yourself up for disappointment there. But I think the point is to get these guys back to the point where they feel like they can play and then start to make decisions, like if I'm also injured, which, I mean, these are hypotheticals that are really irrelevant, but if you're a guy that, like, let's say they play Colorado State in the Mountain West Conference Championship game, I have full confidence that whoever Boise State has been playing with over these last 3 months will beat Colorado State. If it's UNLV, maybe the discussion changes a little bit, because I do have a lot of respect for the Rebels. And I guess what I'm saying by that in that scenario is, if you feel like you can not play in the Mountain West Championship game and maybe get an extra almost month to heal up before you get a bye in the college football playoff, man, things drastically change. But I'll throw a little wild card at you there, Johnny, that some of the names that you mentioned, and a guy that kind of quietly didn't play last weekend. I'll throw Andrew Simpson in there, because I think they need Andrew Simpson to achieve what this team thinks they can achieve. I think that's a guy that they need in there.
Is he playing this week? Jay, you got Simpson in tomorrow?
I guess we can neither confirm nor deny on that one, but there's
I still don't even know. Maybe Jay knows, but I still can't figure out what happened. I mean, we're there at San Jose on the field doing pregame shows, watching warm-ups. Like, and again, with doing the show at 9 a.m., I haven't been able to make it out to as much practice lately. Maybe you guys have, but I didn't remember him going out in the game before. I didn't remember him being injured. I knew nothing about Andrew Simpson being out. And then they didn't even announce him on the injury list as being out. And then I didn't even notice until I see Jay's tweet in the press box saying Simpson's out tonight. And I'm like, looking down there going, wait, what? Then I even asked a Boise State official, like, did you guys forget to put Simpson on there? And they're like, no, we're not announcing Simpson is out. I didn't know he was out. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, so I don't even know, Jay, if it was in pregame warmups or the walkthrough, or he got hurt in practice or the last game or what. So if he's out another week, that would certainly be a I guess a surprise, maybe not, but a big blow. And I'll throw one more name in there, Johnny. Somebody in the chat said, how about 100% Ashton Jeanty for the stretch run here?
Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah. I'd probably go offensive lineman.
I'll take
to be
that.
Honest, I'd probably go one of the offensive linemen, because I feel like they've taken so many of those guys. They just can't keep going into the well further. And I think that's a really key position that impacts Jeanty, impacts Madsen. I mean, I don't know which one. If you had to choose, you'd rather have Carry-On or Randolph. They're both all Mountain West type players. I think if you could just get one of those guys back, which it sounds like Carry-On is closer, and Jay, you're right about playing some of the snaps. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if even against Wyoming, Carry-On's out there for 20-30% of the snaps, works his way back into the lineup, and maybe that's next week that happens against Oregon State. But any concern, Johnny, who was your pick, by the way, before I move on? Who would you want back, Johnny?
Yeah, Mason Randolph.
Okay.
I would go Mason. I mean, I love Tubes, though, too. But the one thing that scares me the most, and I think this would be the demise, like if everything works and Boise State gets the bye week and they're in this massive bowl game against this massive opponent and it doesn't work out for them, the reason for me will be the difference at the line of scrimmage. And whoever they play is going to have this crazy D-line, and Boise State's offensive line at that point in time is going to be overmatched. And even the superpower of Ashton Jeanty, I mean, look at Walter Payton on years where he had a crappy offensive line. We've all seen great backs on years where their line sucks. They're not the same dude, man. That's the biggest thing that worries me. If Boise State gets in that type of situation against that type of opponent, they need to be able to handle their own in the front with the offensive line, I think, and at least be able to do what they do what they want to do, guys. So I think for me, get that offensive line healthy.
Any concern with the game against Wyoming? One final football thought. We'll finish up with one basketball thought, but any at all concern about Wyoming? And as you mentioned, Jay, their stat, I mean, this is defensively one of the worst defenses that Wyoming's had in a long time. Our man Nathan Carroll just posted his kind of analytical look at preview at BroncoNationNews.com. You can go read that. And he talks a lot about some of the advanced stats for Wyoming's defense being outside the top 100. Not good. Just some of the basic stats are not good. They are, though, top 10 in the country on third and fourth down defense. So if you're Boise State, I know you're good at that as well, but try to stay out of third and fourth down as much as possible. Maybe that's because you're getting getting to first down on first or second down. But Boise State, 3 touchdown favorites. I know that the running back is back, and is one of the better backs in the league when healthy for Wyoming. But any concern at all with this game, Jay?
No, Johnny, go.
I think when your son, when he's filling in, when he's the new KTVB sports guy in this town, and Naismith and Nelly are running BNN at the time, and they're doing this segment in 23 years, they're going to say, holy smokes, man, Wyoming has not beat Boise State in football since they had Josh Allen. Because these two teams are not going to play much, if at all, moving
It's the
forward.
only time they beat them, right?
Yes, thank you.
That's beat them all the time. It's like 17-1 or something.
By then, Josh Allen will be in Canton, Ohio. It'll be long gone, and like the next generation of sports geeks will throw that stat out there. The only time Wyoming beat Boise State was when they had Josh Allen, their only superhuman player ever type of thing. So,
Johnny.
No shot.
So Johnny, when Brooks, Naismith, and Nelly are all on,
there is no chance. By the way, we know better than you.
When they're inevitably all hosting the show together or whatever.
Oh God!
In 23 years, in that span, will Boise State have gone back to Laramie to play a game?
No, not a chance. unless they get scheduled somehow there next year. Because they're redoing the Mountain West schedule as far as I was told. And if Gloria wants to be like, JD, Laramie again, maybe they go again. But other than that, no, I'd never see them going back, guys, ever.
And I was thinking about that. Since there's 4 schools leaving, they can't really – a lot of those conferences like to screw teams on the way out or whatever on the last year. But like with 4 teams or 5 teams leaving now, with Utah State leaving too, like – it's going to be a little tough for them to just totally manipulate the schedule to totally get back. And maybe they just pick one like Boise State or San Diego State, those 2, and say we're giving you all the tough road games. I don't know, but I don't think with 5 teams leaving they really can manipulate that too much.
I think that you see a team that's staying, like a UNLV, maybe get some favorable things that go their way. So maybe either UNLV hosts Boise State again this year, or they dodge the Broncos during the regular season.
With that. We'll go back to Vegas again.
I would too, but one thing that the Mountain West has to consider as well is this is still a money grab for them. And so if they put Boise State in a position to go back to the college football playoff, they still have to play those chips, because that's still Mountain West money, because Boise State's still in the Mountain West Conference at that point in time. And so, I could see them maybe doing some things that, aren't completely in their favor, but to think that they're just going to, completely make it, the hill too steep to climb, I think that won't be the case. One thing I want to say about the Wyoming game, BJ, you bring up that they're good on third and fourth down. They're also ranking the bottom 100, as we mentioned, in rush defense. Ashton Jeanty's averaging over 8 yards per carry on first down this season. How do you convert on third or fourth down or whatever? Keep them short distances. They're going to be fine. I seriously have zero concern about this game. I got no concern about this game. Wyoming, I know they got their running back coming back, but they don't. This isn't the days of Brian Hill. This is, this is a different team. They don't have Jacob Hollister lining up for him anymore, or
Right? Yeah.
Tanner
Logan Wilson coming
Gentry,
back
or
though. They got Logan Wilson coming back. They're pulling out all the stops. They're NFL linebacker, bringing him back to fire up the crowd.
They better find a way to put Logan Wilson on the field and find him some eligibility.
Yes.
Even then, I would have a tough time believing the Cowboys would pull this one out.
Hey, final two sponsors I want to thank real quick. Jackson's, they got NIL deals now with Tyson Degenhardt, Omar Stanley, and Andrew Meadow, as you see on the screen there. In January and February, when the basketball team scores 70 points, you get a hot dog, a soda, and a banana for $2 at Jackson's. And again, you can get that this weekend as well. If Ahmed Hassani gets his sack tomorrow, you get that coffee and fountain drink for 91 cents. And at Breezy Dubar, maybe this is finally the week, guys. Breezy Bundle comes back. $1 for a hot dog and a soda at Jackson's. And again, 25 cents from every hot dog sold goes to support the Horseshoe Collective at Boise State. Speaking of food, leanfeastmeridian.com. Check them out. 10,000 plus combinations, healthy options they now deliver anywhere in the Treasure Valley. Check them out, leanfeastmeridian.com. And tomorrow on the pregame show, we're going to draw the name for the Signature Roofing voicemail. We had 8 people with a voicemail on the postgame show. We're going to draw the name on the pregame show, give you your $50 gift card to the Blue and Orange store, and then Signature Roofing has ponied up a $100 gift card for the remaining games this season to the Blue and Orange store if you have for the best post-game voicemail. So come back on the post-game show tomorrow night, leave your voicemail, and you could win a $100 gift card to the Blue and Orange store courtesy of Signature Roofing. Again, check them out, mysignatureroofing.com. Estimates, free inspections, all kinds of great stuff they have there, re-roofs, repairs. Check them out, My Signature Roofing, signatureroofing.com. I mentioned, guys, I'm down here in the Cayman Islands for the Cayman Islands Classic starting on Sunday. Boise State set to arrive here in the next hour and a half. A couple of teams pulled out of the field. The field's not super exciting now, but with the way this is set up in the metrics, guys, they could still have, 3 30-point wins and have a productive trip, so to speak, and improve the metrics. It's crazy how that is, but High Point, the team on the other side of the bracket, everyone's probably saying, who is High Point, laughing at High Point. They're like a top 100 KenPom team or right around 100. So there actually is a chance for a quad 2 game against High Point in the championship game. But overall, this is games they probably should win and win rather convincingly, to be completely honest. Just your take on this team at 3-1, sitting at number 35 in KenPom and the Cayman Islands Classic down here. Johnny, start with you.
I guess I would flip it to you because you're there. Like, What does Leon, what does he want to get out of this tournament aside from whatever the trophy looks like? What else is on that list? You mentioned the KenPom rankings. You want to be able to set yourself up there. Do you want to win by a certain amount of points? Do you want to solidify your rotation as you get into tougher non-con matchups after this tournament? So I guess I would throw it to you, and Jay, if you want to jump in on that too or not, BJ, because I don't really know anything about this tournament or those teams, and obviously you're down there covering it.
I would just say that they're number 35 in KenPom right now. They would want to leave the Cayman Islands on Wednesday, no worse than 35 at KenPom. In a perfect world, if you can hold steady with the metrics against, Boston College is a name team. There's some other teams in here, but again, High Point is the one. Like if you play them in the championship, you're like, oh my gosh, High Point. They're a decent squad. As Tyree says, they're a solid squad. They're about
what? The High Point what? What are they? The McGillicuddies, the Lollygaggers. Who are these High Point guys? What do you guys know?
Pointers.
I don't know the answer.
I bet John Anderson knows. I bet you John Anderson knows. What'd you say, Jay?
I'm just kidding. I have no clue. I don't know what High Point.
By the way, John Anderson did call me, Johnny, very concerned that he couldn't find us on the air yesterday in the morning. So I told him we'd be back on today. But I would just say win the 3 games, obviously, win the championship, get some good team building, don't get anybody injured, don't lay an egg and lose a bad game you're not supposed to lose. The minimum goal is just win these 3 games, win this tournament. But if you can, hold serve on the computer portion of the numbers, try not to have any super close games that still cost you to drop 10, 15 spots. But overall, I would say that's the goal I would think for them is win 3 games and try to hold steady in the computers.
College basketball is kind of just in a weird spot when it comes to the metrics that a lot of people value. I do think it's going to be hard to come out of this tournament feeling completely fulfilled. And the only reason why I say that is kind of going back to what you said at the very beginning of this thing, BJ. It's not just a matter of winning, but they need kind of 3 decisive wins in order to quote unquote hold serve in some of the metrics. And as Johnny brought up, you want to go on the road and you want to figure out your rotations and test some young guys. But the way that college basketball is set up right now, you have to have a lot of confidence in your young guys in order to do that, because there's a huge difference when you're playing a bad team between a 12-point win and a 25-point win. And so it is unfortunate that the integrity of this tournament was kind of sacrificed when some of the teams pulled out, if you will. And you have to commit to these things so far in advance. I just,
it would have cost
go
like $150,000 to back out, and they had no other real great options. So I mean, are they happy with how it worked out? No, but they were kind of stuck with it, and you just make the most of it, I guess.
And so they're going to have to make the most of it. And I think that like the optics of like what everybody's going to interpret this as, if they go win a championship there, it's going to be awesome. But there are some people that really value some of those metrics. And I mean, let me ask you this, BJ. If they're 35 right now, what are the chances they're actually 35 at the end of the tournament?
Probably not great.
Probably not great.
To win 3 games, I think I figured it out yesterday. 25, almost 2,700 miles, like 2,600 miles. I mean, they flew to Atlanta, spent the night last night. They're flying down. I mean, it took me 3 flights to get here. It's not an easy trip. Everyone's the Cayman Islands. It's beautiful. It's nice, but it's to pick up a whole basketball team, come down here and expect to play 3 perfect games. When your first game starts at 11 a.m. on Sunday, it's just a weird setup. So no, you want to win the tournament, win 3 games, but to say they're going to win 3 games by 30 points probably is not happening.
And so that's my expectation. I'm not worried about winning 3 games by 30 points. they have the capability to do it. Hell yeah. We've seen, the way they played against Clemson and Oakland, they could beat anybody on those given nights. But yep. I think it would be a lot to ask for them to, pick up the decisive victories they need in 3 consecutive games. But just go there, win a championship, and put that on your resume. And that's at least something that a tangible thing you could hold with you on Selection Sunday. That I don't know what it means, but at least it's something that can help the resume. It's not going to hurt it.
Just avoid the disaster. Just go win the tournament and then focus on some other games and keep this thing going. A lot ahead of you there.
Johnny, final thing. I know I'm coming on at 4:15 today for the Bronco Nation News Report. You guys are on 3 to 6 today, but what is your coverage plans today, tomorrow? Do we got a Bronco game night tomorrow night?
Yeah, we have Prater on the Ballgame, Idaho Sports Talk today, you guys, from the Idaho Snowmobile Show over there at the Ford Idaho Center Sports Complex.
Perfect time for me to zoom back in with the weather here in the Cayman Islands.
We're doing our show out there, talking about the 2K club of college football. Every running back that's ever had a 2,000-yard rushing season. We expect Ashton Jeanty to join this club tomorrow. So we're going to get everybody set for that, BJ. And yeah, Bronco game night on our sister station, KBOI, about 30, 45 minutes following Boise State, Wyoming. Thanks again for having me, bud.
What do we got on KTVB, Jay? I know big couple of days as well.
Yeah, big couple days. First off, Johnny, who's the best running back duo that has been referred to as Thunder and Lightning? We obviously need to find, better ways to name running back duos, because that's been used too often. But who's the best running back duo in your mind that was referred to as Thunder and Lightning?
Okay, Thunder and Lightning for me, the first name that popped in, and this is probably, this is where my mind goes.
Okay.
But it was Tiki Barber and Ron Dane with the New York Giants in like the early 2000s. Remember Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott? That was WD-40. I loved that nickname, the spray WD-40, because Mike Allstott was 40 and Warwick Dunn. But yeah, to me, Thunder and Lightning was kind of there, but I feel like there's another one that we're missing. But
I went right to Tiki Barber and Ron Dane, and you bring up, elite college rushers. Ron Dane had a hell of a career at Wisconsin. So
Jason Eck blocked for him.
Who is Ron Dane and who is Tiki Barber on KTIK on between Prater and Ballgame? Are you Tiki? What do you think?
I'm probably Tiki. Guys, I got stuff to do.
There
he goes.
He just
left.
He just left. Oh, that's awesome.
But yes,
I had to have a
where were
Johnny
you going
like
with
question.
that? Where were you going with that? Come on.
Oh, I just had to have a Johnny like question before we got out of here. I mean, like he would pull something like that up as we're just standing there waiting for interviews forever. So I always like to throw it back on him.
That is a very typical John Mallory random question with nothing, with no just.
I just like to throw it back at him whenever I get the opportunity to. So big weekend coming up. High school state playoffs continuing. Eagle in the 6A championship game tomorrow over at Albertson Stadium. Homedale playing for a state title out at Middleton. We'll have those highlights. The good news, BJ, this game kicking off on Saturday when it does, it's found this perfect little window where we can actually have a live pregame show the hour before the game. And
there you go.
And it won't be the early 9 a.m. show that we've had to do because of Big Ten football this year. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I'll be sleeping in too much, but I will get more than 3 to 4 hours of sleep tonight. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I like it. Sounds good. No, we'll be watching KTVB pregame, postgame. You guys will be all over it. You and Brady and the crew all doing a tremendous job as always. We'll be following. Apparently, not the easiest place to get sports channels, even though it's a Marriott down here. Jay, I was flipping the channels and I've had to do some research, and then I found out my YouTube TV doesn't work internationally as well. So I'm the contingent of basketball folks here. We're trying to find a spot to watch the football game tomorrow. I believe there's an American sports bar not too by that we hopefully can have the game on, and that may be where we're watching from and tweeting from. Not sure yet, but still trying to locate a spot to watch a football game down here. They do get the local channels, so I think I'll be able to watch the Kansas-Colorado game on Fox, but the Boise State game, we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with that, but hopefully can find a spot.
Well, the best of luck to you on that mission. Don't get sunburned while you try to figure it out.
Yeah, I know. Somebody already commented about that. The forehead here. By the way,
I didn't even mean that. I'm just joking. You look good, bud. You're fine.
The Panthers, High Point Panthers. By the way, somebody said.
There it is. That was my second guess.
Jay, appreciate it. Have a good weekend, man, and we will talk to you Tuesday. We'll have another rankings to come out. We'll have a lot to go, and we'll have we'll have to actually talk about that because that'll be the champion. Well, no, we'll be fine. Tuesday, we're good. The championship game is not till 7:30 at night, so we can do the morning show Tuesday. Hope we'll be good. So appreciate it, Jay.
Sounds good, bud.
There he is. Thanks a lot, Jay Tust, for joining us again down here at the Cayman Islands for the Boise State basketball tournament. Full coverage coming the next couple of days. The team will be arriving here in the next hour or so, and we'll have full coverage the next couple of days of Boise State basketball down here at the Cayman Islands. Subscribe if you can. Help us out. $50 gets you a full year using that promo code BNN50deal. BNN50deal gets you a 1-year subscription to Bronco Nation News. You can help with the travel costs and things associated with coming down here to the Cayman Islands to cover this tournament. But we'll still have football coverage. Don't worry. We will have a pregame show and a postgame show. Abe Jackson says, see you soon. I don't know if they've already landed or if he's watching Airborne. But looking forward to have Abe Jackson down here to hang out and have some basketball to talk about. And Abe Jackson will be live on our pregame shows, all 3 games, and hopefully some postgame shows too. Abe is doing the tournament by himself, so that's going to be a challenge, but fun for him as well. And we will have a pregame for the football game tomorrow. The game starts at 5. We'll be live at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock Boise time. We will be live with the pregame show at 4 o'clock. And we'll be tracking that Kansas-Colorado game, but we're going to have Nathan Carroll join us to talk about some of the numbers in this game. We're going to have Brad Bedell and Kent Riddle join us pregame. And so we're going to have a pregame show, and we will have a postgame show as well. So make it like normal, 4 o'clock tomorrow before the game, about an hour before. Join us for the pregame show. Get Okay. All right. I'm being told that I'm too loud here, guys, by some of the rooms. So I'm going to end the show here shortly. But that was a first. Guess I'm being too loud in the courtyard here, and somebody standing outside could hear us. So we're going to end the show. Apologize for that. Apologize to all the viewers apparently for talking too loud. But again, we will see you 4 o'clock on the pregame show, and then we'll see you right after the game on the postgame show as well. Check us out, Bronco Nation News from the Cayman Islands, BroncoNationNews.com.